Story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, welcome to CoreTV Primetime News Weekend Edition. I am Gift Ogete. In our major story, mixed fortunes greet PDP House of Assembly primaries across the country as delegates list tears members apart in Adamawa. Also in this program, Emir of Kano Mohammed Sanusi II returns home, says no intimidation by Boko Haram, a day after bombers hit Central Mosque in the state. Federal Task Force 6 probe of Army Colonel over illegal arms import. Now inside Nigeria, a court in Egypt drops charges against former President Hosni Mubarak over the killing of 239 protesters during the 2011 uprising against him. We opened this bulletin on a very sad note as reports say a plane belonging to Overland has crash landed in Kwara. Well, reports are still very sketchy at the moment, but we'll bring you details in a subsequent bulletins. The House of Assembly primary election of the People's Democratic Party in Adamawa State did not hold due to a major disagreement between party executives and the committee saddled with the responsibility of conducting the elections. The disagreement was centered on the list of delegates which the party executive in Adamawa State say has been doctored by the national headquarters of the party. The party exco met for several hours behind closed doors but failed to reach an agreement with the delegation from the national headquarters. An attempt to hold a press conference by the state party failed due to the chaotic situation which resulted from the disagreement. The situation is coming less than 24 hours after the state party chairman, Joe Madaki, was reinstated by a court injunction. He was earlier suspended by the National Working Committee of the party. The two fractions of the People's Democratic Party in Ondo State held their separate House of Assembly primaries on Saturday, despite the Abuja High Court ruling nullifying the caretaker committee instituted by the National Working Committee of the party. However, in Idanre, Ondo East, Ondo West and Eseodo council areas of the state, party members defied the line of differences and chose to hold a harmonized primaries. The court had ruled that the caretaker committee set up by the PDP NWC should have nothing to do with issues of primaries and sustain the tenure of the current party working committee in the state. It was guarded that INEC officials in the state stayed away from the primaries conducted by both factions due to the conflicting reports about the Friday judgment. Chairman of the old PDP, Ebenza Alabi, and representatives of the Mimiko-led fraction, the Attorney General, the Justice Commissioner, Eyitayo Jegede, and the State Cooperative and Community Development Commissioner, Clement Fagboyede, were seen at the INEC office in Akure to complain about the failure of its staff to witness their primaries. But security operatives were present at the venue of the primaries of the factions, even as the exercises were peacefully conducted across the state. The People's Democratic Party nationwide held its state assembly primaries on Saturday. Oluwaseyi Adegoke was at the PDP Secretariat in Lagos, where she monitored one of the primaries and filed in this report.
Ballot boxes were distributed to returning officers earlier on Saturday, as the primaries were slated to take place in 40 constituencies in the state. The Lagos PDP Publicity Secretary had assured before the commencement of the primaries that the exercise will be free and fair.
It is expected that the returning officers will leave here and go straight to the various primary venues and conduct free, fair, credible elections using the 3 delegates per ward, using the LGA officers, using the state officers, and all other bona fide voters that fall within the constituencies for today.
The Ikeja constituency primaries were held at the party secretariat with 5 aspirants contesting for the Ikeja constituency 1. Robert Ohafoso emerged winner of the exercise. Another aspirant in the same constituency commended the exercise, but not without some reservations.
We are here for the deal. The primaries of the State House Assembly, Lagos State. The only problem we have is period to this time, there have been some agitations and allegations of imposition of candidates. But in as much as we had complained to the leadership of the party, and they have assured us that there's not going to be anything like that, that it's going to be free and fair, and it's going to be transparent, they have promised. Because I think at this point the party is interested in trying to get it right so that what used to happen before will not happen again.
Though winners may have emerged at the various primaries, the quality of their representations will however be tested at the 2015 general elections. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Notwithstanding the announced nationwide postponement of the primaries of the People's Democratic Party following Friday's Kano bomb blast, the Osun PDP leadership confirms settling for consensus candidacy in many of the primaries conducted. Rashid, who monitored the exercise in Osogbo, the state capital, reports that most of the areas visited were devoid of political activities.
For the Osun PDP, the last-minute change of the announcement to cancel the primaries as a sympathy gesture to the people of Kano over Friday's mosque bombing may not have changed the status quo, as the party leadership in the state says it has achieved its purpose.
The primary election for the House of Assembly was postponed in a number of places, but that was not applicable. It's not applicable to all the states of Nigeria. Like in Osun here today, the primary election for the House of Assembly candidates is ongoing. It's been completed in a number of places.
Some constituencies and local government secretariats visited by CoreTV News were under lock and key, as there is no sign of any activity to signify that the said primaries being conducted. Here again is the Osun State PDP spokesperson.
It depends on where you have gone to. If you have gone to a place where the arrangement has been concluded by consensus and all you have just done today is information, you will come to that conclusion. Earlier than now, we've had the consensus arrangements, whereby by consensus arrangements, some candidates have emerged in various constituencies. Today, we are conducting primaries in about 8 state constituencies, and from reports coming in, quite a number have been concluded successfully.
There is also less activity at the PDP State Secretariat, even though the party spokesman revealed that the exercise that will produce the party's House of Assembly candidate is in line with the tenets of democracy.
If there's anything coming up by way of one grievance or the other, there's a machinery already put in place by the internal mechanism or the dynamics of the party is in place to ensure that whatever grievances, whatever protests, whatever thing that may arise will be conclusively and democratically resolved.
Despite its position as the leading opposition party in the state, the PDP says it will go for broke in all elections to be contested for in 2015. Rashid, CoreTV News, Osogbo.
Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola has restated call for Nigerians to vote the People's Democratic Party out of government in the 2015 general elections. Fashola made the call while receiving defectors from Lagos PDP to the All Progressives Congress. Abiola Oluwole was at the Lagos APC Secretariat venue of the defection. His report is presented from our studios.
As the 2015 general elections approach, there has been visible alignment and realignment by politicians across party divides in order to realize their ambitions. Some members of the Lagos PDP, led by the former deputy governor during the administration of Lateef Jakonde, Rafiu Jafojo, have formally defected to the All Progressive Congress. Speaking on behalf of the defectors, a former PDP stalwart, Abayomi Fini, says the desire for change made them join APC.
We had to take this decision because of the political climate in the country and the already air in the polity of our nation. We have also observed painfully the violent internal struggle with the party, that is, from where we are coming, and the lack of internal democracy, PDP. The totality of this is an abysmal failure of the federal government on all fronts. One failed and one failed. And the colossal disappointment to Nigeria and Nigerians.
Receiving the defectors, Fashola says the spate of defection from PDP is a clear manifestation of the capacity of APC to deliver Nigeria from what he called bad governance by the ruling PDP at the federal level.
For us, the time to change the management of Nigeria's government is upon us. Those who have been entrusted with that responsibility have demonstrated a lack of capacity to do so. We need a fresh pair of hands, a fresh pair of eyes, and a fresh pair of minds, fresh sets of minds, to reappraise the Nigerian problem. And I think that no other party is best suited to do that than the All Progressive Congress.
Political observers say more politicians whose political ambitions are not realizable after the primaries of their parties are also likely to follow suit.
Complaints that doubt the renewed permanent voter cards collection exercise in Lagos appear to be fading fast. Residents are beginning to commend INEC for what they generally termed a smooth exercise. Oluwaseyi Adegoke monitored the exercise at the Bariga area of the state and filed in this report.
Please be on the line, please.
Contrary to the initial shoddy performance of the INEC in the state, the residents of Shomolu Bariga has been commending the exercise. At Ward E, Oke Street, the situation was calm, with electorate collecting their permanent voter cards with ease. The situation is the same at Unit 23 and 31.
The exercise is going on smoothly here, and the people have been coming, and going. Even we have so many of these people going and calling some of them who are not around, because they are going to house, call some of them to come and collect their cards.
At the Bariga Local Government Council, there were few people at site. CoreTV crew asked why there was no queue. We got this reaction.
People came here to collect their cards and left immediately.
Though the residents commended the exercise, but they still urged the INEC to prefer solution to missing names on the list. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
It's CoreTV Prime Time News Weekend edition. Emir Kano Mohammed Sanusi returns home a day after bomber hit Central Mosque. Find out why he says nobody can intimidate him after this timeout. Stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned with us. It's CoreTV Prime Time News. Here's a quick reminder of some of our major headlines. Mixed fortunes greet PDP House of Assembly primaries across the country as delegates list tiers members of party in Adamawa. Emir of Kano Mohammed Sanusi II returns home, says no intimidation by Boko Haram, a day after bombers hit Central Mosque in the state. Federal Task Force seeks probe of Army Colonel over illegal arms import. Oh, don't forget that you can also reach us on our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. On Twitter at CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, it's youtube.com/CoreTV Space News. The Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi, says Friday's attack on the Ado Bayero Central Mosque and the city might have been planned by 2 months. Sanusi, who was on Lisa Hajj when the incident occurred, ended his stay abruptly in order to personally assess the situation. Speaking at the mosque where he usually prays, he says the insurgents would not achieve their aim of discouraging people from worshipping in the place. From all indications, the attackers have been planning this for at least 2 months, AFP quoted him as saying on Saturday. He has directed that the mosque be washed and cleaned and prayers should continue there. Survivors of the incident are undergoing treatment in various hospitals within the city, and there have been a high demand for the donation of blood. President Goodluck Jonathan had on Friday condemned the attack, appealing to residents of the state to heed the call for donation of blood by hospitals where the injured are being treated. Meanwhile, the Kano State Police Command has revealed that Friday's bomb attack at the state's Central Mosque was carried out by a suicide bomber and 3 gunmen. The Deputy Commissioner of Police in the state, Salisu Salami, however, says investigations into the bomb attack has commenced in full force. The National Task Force Against Illegal Importation of Small Arms and Light Weapons is seeking the investigation of an officer attached to a Nigerian Army battalion in Lagos. The task force claims that the officer, who is a colonel, is involved in the importation of illegal arms through the land borders. Director General of the National Task Force, Osita Okereke, made the allegations at a news conference in Abuja. He also wants the government to compel the Nigerian customs to intensify the search on vehicles coming into the country.
Then the last alternative was to go and block Colonel T. Issa. I don't know him even if he comes here. And this T. Issa, I have investigated him and I find out that he's one of those people who are in Meduguri, who are beating the members of the Boko Haram. So he has his interior motive. Now the Meduguri side, there's no load, no way for them to come in there. Then they have to divert. And this side is in Lagos to do the dirty job for them, which he has been doing before. The moment this thing happened, I wrote to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That was on Wednesday, 20th. I think he must have received my letter by now.
The president of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, Mohammed Garba, has advised politicians to work together to tackle the security challenges facing the country. The NUJ president made this call in Kaduna during an interactive session with members of the State Council of the Union on Saturday. He insisted that rather than play politics, politicians should collaborate on ensuring lasting solution to the nation's problem.
And this issue, as you are all aware, as I said, the issue of politics, the political situation in the country, the issue of the economy, and then the last one is the security situation. And I'm sure you will all agree with me that it is now very visible to everybody, every Nigerian, that this country all is not well in Nigeria. In fact, if you have been reading what is happening on the pages of the newspapers and analysis on radio and television, I'm sure you will see a lot of views. Some people said our country is sick. Some people felt that we have to do things in good time. If not, even the 2050 election will virtually be very, very impossible. So honestly, I thought that some of them were indeed they are right with what they have said. If you look at the economic situation, for instance, I want to believe that it is now very, very clear and even admitted and confirmed by quite a number of economists and even the executives who are managing this economy in Nigeria today, that the economy is in trouble. This is a true situation as far as we're concerned. And when the economy of a country, especially in the area of money and what have you, you realize that it would be very, very difficult for government to achieve the issue of unemployment in terms of employing our people, especially the youth. You realize that the currency of the country, as a result of the shortfall in oil and what have you, will gradually and continue to fall. And then you will witness a lot of inflation naturally, because virtually when there is no money, you realize that a lot of things will go up.
You're watching the weekend edition of CoreTV Prime Time News. We'll take another break and return with business, sports and stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical, women being so powerful yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News. Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned with us. Now to business. The federal government on Saturday says the implementation of the National Integrated Infrastructure Master Plan would create approximately 33 million jobs for Nigerians across the country. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Bala Mohammed, disclosed this in Edo State. The minister says the 30-year NIIMP will facilitate the provision of infrastructure in power, oil and gas transportation, housing, water, agriculture, social infrastructure, information and communication technology, and the Federal Capital Territory. Nigeria, as an emerging country, is the next destination for investors. Has said that over 10 districts in the Federal Capital Territory were being developed with private funds, while secondary investment in land swap district are expected to rise to the tune of over 3 trillion and 250,000 new jobs would be created in the next 5 years. Also, the private sector-led projects include $2.7 billion, Abuja Town Center, $18 billion, Centenary City Project, $1.2 billion, World Trade Center, among others. OPEC producers reached a consensus not to cut oil production in order to stem the decline in prices. An agreement was reached that the consensus should stick to the existing production quota of 30 million barrels a day, of which member countries have been overproducing by 300,000 BPD, in far short of the target of 1 million barrels per day for member countries to stick to the current daily output target. After the announcement, Brent crude dropped 4% to $74 per barrel, a 4-year low. According to analysts, Nigeria needs the price of oil at $122.70 per barrel to balance its 2015 fiscal budget. The country produces 2.1% of total world output and 5.9% of total OPEC output. OPEC was faced with a dilemma between making cuts and leaving production targets unchanged, as member countries stand to lose revenue either way. Unless an emergency meeting is called, OPEC's next meeting is in June 2015. The Minister of Petroleum Resources, Diziani Alison Maduke, said the crux of the matter is not in production cuts, but collaboration with non-OPEC countries to stem the price slump. It's a balancing game between OPEC and non-OPEC producing countries. Any reductions might be relevant unless other non-OPEC producers follow suit. Now to sports. Federation of International Football Association will hold the draw for the 7th edition of the Women's World Cup in Qatar on December 6th. The draw will see representatives from 24 teams from 6 confederations which have qualified for the tournament gather inside Canadian Museum on History in Qatar to know their opponents in the group stage. Qatar, Moncton, Montreal, Winnipeg, Edmonton and Vancouver were listed as the venues to host games of the competition, which will hold from June 6th to July 5th, 2015. The record 129 nations entered the qualifiers, and that the finals will for the very first time feature 24 teams. This is the 7th appearance of Nigeria's senior women team in the tournament, with their best outing at the 1999 edition staged in USA. A red banner was displayed reading, "Arsenal, thanks for the memories. It's time to say goodbye." Arsenal may have left the Hawthorns with all 3 points after a 1-0 win over West Brom, but it seems a section of the Gunners' support are still not happy with manager Arsene Wenger. Despite coming out victorious against West Brom, a minority of fans displayed a banner after the game which read, "Arsene, thanks for the memories, but it's time to say goodbye," reflects the growing feeling in recent weeks that Wenger's 18-year tenure as Arsenal should be brought to an end due to the Frenchman's naive defensive tactics and lack of nuance in the transfer market. The banner has been displayed several times since 2012. And now to Egypt. A court in Egypt has dropped charges against former President Hosni Mubarak over the killing of 239 protesters during the 2011 uprising against him. The Cairo court erupted in cheers when the judge said Mubarak should not have been a defendant in the case, as the charges against him were added late. Charges against 7 senior ex-officials were also dropped. The decision could be appealed. Victims' relatives waiting outside expressed dismay and frustration. Police later fired tear gas to disperse a crowd of about 2,000 people who gathered near the Tahrir Square to voice their opposition to the decision. In a TV interview after the ruling, Mubarak said he had done nothing wrong at all. The former president, 86, is serving a separate 3-year sentence for embezzlement of public funds. And just before we close, a recap of our major headlines. We told you that mixed fortunes greeted PDP House of Assembly primaries across the country as delegates list tears members apart in Adamawa. We also reported that Emir of Kano Mohammed Sanusi II has returned home and vows he will not be intimidated by Boko Haram a day after bombers hit Central Mosque in the state. And lastly, the federal task force is seeking the probe of an army colonel over illegal arms import. Well, that's our show for tonight. Do remember that we did tell you that a plane belonging to Overland has crash landed in Kwara. We'll bring you details in a subsequent bulletin. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Gift Ogete. Have a good night rest.